Guofang, the 9th-tier martial sovereign, gets reincarnated as the Li family's trash, Li Yun Xiao. With the knowledge of his past life, he defeats Lan Fei and Lan Xuan, not even standing down against a martial king. Overcoming various battles and healing Princess Ruxu's incurable disease, Li Yun Xiao does it all to restore his former glory. After taking up a disciple who possesses great power, he now looks to reclaim the Li family from the emperor's puppet. At the palace entrance, the country's most important officials and ministers start gathering to partake in the important royal banquet. Arriving there, Chunzun and Hanbai notice Yun Xiao. Not meeting him much nowadays, Chunzun playfully punches his friend's body. However, the poor guy's hand ends up swelling due to Yun Xiao's steel-like sturdiness. Seeing this, the reincarnated soul smiles, giving the duo two origin-impacting pills to help them ascend to a martial warrior. Right then, the monk siblings arrive there and greet Yun Xiao. As Chunzun and Hanbai start teasing the boy for his taste in girls, he introduces them to his newest disciple, Mengbai. Though, the two idiots end up concluding that their young master Yun is going to such great lengths just to pick up a girl. Bros think he's the Rizzler. Afterwards, the group heads to the main hall. Those who have the privilege to enter this area have some of the greatest presences in the country. As soon as the reincarnated soul and the others enter, all eyes fall on them. Li Yi, Yun Xiao's uncle named Li Baifeng, the head scribe Lan Hong, commander of the state guardians Shao Qingwang, second-tier alchemist Li Yun, first prince Qin Yang, second prince Qin Yue. All these important personalities turn towards Yun Xiao, considering him as one of the main characters of the banquet. Suddenly, Li Yi invites the boy to come up and sit with the Li family instead of sitting at the spot designated for the Chun family. Yun Xiao simply snarks back with a joke directed towards Li Yi, causing everyone in the banquet hall to burst out laughing. Suddenly, one of Li Yi's underlings leaps at Yun Xiao, wanting him to get on his knees and apologize for insulting the Li family's substitute head. Questioning why the man isn't kneeling when he is in front of him, Yun Xiao easily dodges the incoming attack, slapping around the soldier without even dropping the drink in his hands. It leaves everyone in awe. Yun Xiao towers over the defeated foe, reminding Li Yi that the only reason he was granted the Li surname is because he was a good little slave for the Li family. The reincarnated soul then announces that slave number 8527 means to keep his dogs in line. The last time I saw people get numbered, it didn't end too well. Yun Xiao declares that slaves like Li Yi should stay in line, as he doesn't want to shatter their bones in front of all the court officials in His Majesty's banquet. In a blind fury, Li Yi unsheaths his blade and starts swinging wildly at Yun Xiao. However, the commander of the state guardians, Xiao Qingwang, stops him, slamming Li Yi back to his seat using telekinesis. Qingwang tells him not to start something that will kill the mood of a day of celebration. Agreeing with this sentiment, First Prince Qin Yang commands the servants to clean up the Li family's space. Meanwhile, Li Yi continues to scream at the reincarnated soul, only to keep getting shut down by one-liners. My guy giving the rock a run for his money. Qingwang then turns his gaze towards Yun Xiao, realizing that the latter's earlier strike demonstrated a deeper understanding of the martial path than his own. Announcing the arrival of His Majesty the King, a loud voice interrupts his thoughts. Everyone stands up, bowing in respect of Tian Shui's emperor, Qinzong. Though, Yun Xiao throws up a peace sign in his direction, aimed at Yun Shang and Qin Ruxue, the two ladies accompanying the emperor. Qinzong then talks to his subjects, announcing that the reason for today's feast is the celebration of two happy events, Yun Shang's promotion and Qin Ruxue's recovery. All the important figures start presenting great gifts to the two ladies, delighting them to no end. Just like that, Li Yi marches onto the stage, showering Yun Shang with praise. He gives her a rare treasure sculpted by the #1 sculptor in Tian Shui, Shiwan Jiang. It is a hairpin made from tranquil jade, capable of focusing and calming one's mind. All that hype for this SMH. Turning over to Qin Ruxue, Li Yi admits admiring her and mutters that his humble soul can't think of anything in the world worthy of her. After shocking everyone with his open confession, he reveals a demon beast egg from the Fire Crow Empire as her gift, a treasure among treasures. While everyone is impressed with this generous offering, Yun Xiao's sarcastic voice questions the use of a dead demon beast. It can't even be eaten, as it is already rotten. Boasting about the cost of the demon beast egg, Li Yi shouts at Yun Xiao to stop uttering nonsense. The emperor, Qinzong, asks the boy how he knows that the egg is dead. Yun Xiao suggests that they just cut open the egg so that everyone can see, announcing that the princess will know he is right when the egg doesn't move even after spending months incubating it. Hearing this, Qin Zheng tells Yun Xiao to be careful and not speak randomly without evidence. As the boy saves the princess, the emperor lets him off this time with a warning. Yun Xiao shrugs and heads off, unwavering on the fact that the demon beast's egg is a dud. The ceremony continues, and the first prince, Qin Yang, presents his offerings. Although his gift to Verug Sue is valuable, it is nothing compared to what he presents to Yun Xiao, hoping to woo her. However, she refuses to accept such an expensive gift. Riz, unable to contain himself, Qin Yang gets down on his knees. He proposes to Yun Xiao in front of everyone in the banquet hall, only to get sternly rejected. Refusing to accept this outcome, Qin Yang questions if she already has her eyes set on someone, wanting to prove that no one in Tianshui is worthy of her except him. The first prince expresses the desire to fight this person. Suddenly, Yun Xiao stops in her tracks, convincing everyone that there is a lover in her life. With this, teacher Luo begins reminiscing about the time 15 years ago when she was only a 5-year-old girl with no concept of love, cultivating day after day in the Shunxiyao Temple on Snowfall Peak. Yun Xiao thinks that it's how her whole life will pass. One day, her once beautiful and kind master comes back from a trip, having transformed into a sentimental and harsh person. Dissatisfied with her disciple's cultivation, she doesn't spare even her most beloved disciple, Yun Xiao. Seeing her master cry, the naive 5-year-old vows to get strong and beat up the one responsible for her state. Later, Yun Xiao learns the man's name to be none other than Guofang. This dude is a player. Sometime later, the child hides behind a curtain, bearing witness to an important meeting between numerous martial sovereigns of the Nine Heavens realm. One of them, Fuqi Shuai, questions the Shunxiyao Temple's master why she is giving them a gift as generous as 1095 supreme pills. Chu Hongyan, the #1 beauty in Tian Wu continent and Yun Xiang's master, replies that she has nothing but these medicinal pills which are worthy of their help. Mu Yangshu chimes in, promising to assist Master Chu if she needs any help in the future. Luan Junhao then announces that the lady is overestimating Gu Feiyang by offering such a steep reward. Kong Yuan Kuoi tells Junhao not to be so careless, as their target is ranked 3rd on the latest Heaven and Earth power chart and is beyond all of them. However, Junhao insists that it's only because he was in seclusion cultivating a very powerful divine ability and missed the reshuffling of the rankings. Blood's coping. Hearing his fellow martial sovereign's claims, Chun Feizhou inquires about the name of the divine ability he has mastered that makes him confident in fighting Gu Feiyang alone. Junhao reveals that it is none other than the supreme martial technique of the strongest man in the continent 10,000 years ago, the Great Genghis Seal. The wielder of the Transmigration Spear. Shitu Hai starts laughing, feeling relieved about their chances against Gu Feiyang. One Guo Ho then claims that with the combined might of the 11 martial sovereigns present at Shunxiyao Temple, not even the top 3 in the Heaven and Earth power chart will be able to go back alive. Shitu Hai worries that Gu Feiyang will not come to fight, knowing that all of them are there. However, Junhao thinks that just being able to visit the famous wonderland known as Shunxiyao Temple is worthwhile in and of itself. Some time passes in leisure, and the martial sovereigns conclude that the vanquisher Gu Feiyang is nothing more than a coward afraid to fight them. Yi Yuan questions if the delay is because he is gathering 10 martial sovereigns as helpers, worrying that the resulting battle will be intense. However, Chu Hongyan proclaims that Gu Feiyang won't ask for help. As Junhao questions how she is so sure, the lady announces that it's because he's already here. Unable to spot Gu Feiyang, the martial sovereigns question if Master Chu is guessing wrongly. Remarking that she didn't guess, the lady asks them if they can't feel the wild rising. Moments later, a massive force slams open the gates of the Shunxiyao Temple. A great wind comes forth, the clouds rise high. With a thunderous chant, Gu Feiyang unleashes his boundless golden cloud palm and announces that the wind and clouds rose high, all because of him. Holy chills. Responding all together, the 10 martial sovereigns except Chu Hongyan activate their techniques: Great Genghis Seal, Transmigration Spear, Ink Frost Ternate Finger, True Dragon Seal, Heavenly Martial Buddha Hand, Mysterious Ice God Fist, Seasoned Flame Blade, Traceless Ghost Palm, and Spirit Dragon Emperor Finger. Even the collective counterattack resulting from all these powerful abilities is unable to withstand Gu Feiyang's onslaught, and the martial sovereigns are soundly defeated. Looking on, Chu Hongyan bursts into a smile and mutters that he is still the most handsome man. The endless trail of clouds starts to vanish, revealing the glorious appearance of Guofang, leaving even 5-year-old Yun Xiao in complete awe. Walking towards Chu Hongyan, the martial sovereign questions why she is doing all this. Bursting into tears, the lady expresses the desire to perform another dance for Guofang, ignoring his warning that she will lose. Listen to him, girl. Chu Hongyan murmurs that she has already lost and wipes away her tears. Screaming out the man's name, she announces that one of them will die here today. Guofang reiterates that Chu Hongyan is no match for him, prompting the lady to throw up her sword in the sky. A purple glow erupts from her blades, signaling numerous masked women to unleash the Purple Star's formation. Seeing this, Guofang understands that Chu Hongyan truly intends to kill him. Surrounded by a violet glow, the latter starts floating into the air and reveals that the mountain protection formation constructed by Sheng Xiao Temple will now be used for the first time in thousands of years. Chu Hongyan then proclaims that today is the day she will slay Guofang on Snowfall Peak. Swirls of energy collide in the snowy peak underneath the Kokub star, as Chu Hong chases after the martial sovereign. By using the battle formation to absorb the power of the stars in her sword, she proclaims herself to be a god, one that will put an end to the man known as Guofang. However, the entity ranked 3rd on the Heaven and Earth power chart vows to finish this in one strike, even if the lady has a billion stars. Calling forth Star Strike Sword, Omniscient View, Guofang unleashes his dragon-like monstrous energy. Chu Hongyan responds by reciting a chant, preparing to counter with a purple cloud sword. 5-year-old Yun Xiao looks on in awe, thinking Guofang to be the definition of ultimate coolness. Despite her best efforts to withstand the enormous amount of primordial chi gathering in the area to look for a few seconds more, the child's eyes inevitably close on her. NT Lil Bro. Yun Xiao's memory of the scene ends there. When she wakes up, no one is left on Snowfall Peak and the girl starts to aimlessly traverse the continent, all just to see the eyes of that man once more. Despite the initial rumors claiming otherwise, news quickly spreads of the Vanquisher's feats on the Snowfall Peak, defeating 10 martial sovereigns of the 9 heavens realm with a single move and repressing the Sheng Xiao Temple's master Chu Hongyan. These events caused Guofang's reputation to soar like the sun itself. However, what quickly follows is the tragic news of his untimely death in the Tiandang Mountains. Unable to believe that the dazzling eyes of that man had died, Yu Xiang eventually reaches the country of Tian Shuoi and decides to stay at Jia Lan Academy. After all, it is these grounds on which stands the most mythical statue of Guofang, unmatched across the whole of Tianwu. On a fated day at the martial arena, Yun Xiang notices the demeanor of a certain young man to be exactly the same as that statue of Guofang. Present-day Yun Xiang lets out a sigh of disappointment, causing Li Yun Xiao to flinch. The first Prince Qin Yang questions the identity of this man, wondering if he doesn't even qualify to know him. Hearing that Yun Xiang's mystery lover has actually passed away, Qin Yang concludes that he now has a chance and vows to do anything that this man did to make her heart so loyal. Telling the first prince to listen closely, Yu Xiang begins listing his feats. At the Divine Shake Sea, he refined Super Xuan weapons that could strike the stars and ascended as the youngest 9th-tier refiner. This man was named the most famous elder in the Alchemist Association and brought down the Crimson Crescent City's defenses with a single strike, eradicating one of the 3 superpowers from the continent. In the Eastern Seas, this entity aided his friend in a massacre that stretched across 8,000 miles of water and caused the Sea Folk's emperor to issue a decree for his execution. Suppressing a vast army of warriors in the Holy Lands, he obtained 3rd place on the Heaven and Earth Cloud Wind leaderboard. Dubbed the Military Breaker and the Vanquisher, this man strode through the clouds on Snowfall Peak to defeat 10 martial sovereigns with one move. Not even the most beautiful woman in the world who possessed the appearance of a goddess, Chu Hongyan, was able to woo him. What a giga-chad. While the entire banquet hall looks on in silence, Yu Xiang remarks that there's still much more to say about the person who has her heart, proclaiming that she will marry Qin Yang if he can do even 1/100th of what that person did. She takes her leave from the banquet, stating no chance against the name that disappeared 15 years ago. The first prince lowers his head. Meanwhile, Li Yun Xiao is left frozen in place at this heartfelt confession. Meng Wu shakes Yun Xiao, questioning what's wrong. Snapping back to reality, the reincarnated soul lets out a sigh. Right then, Emperor Qin Zheng orders the banquet to be continued and the festivities proceed. Later, Yun Xiao is eating alongside the monk's siblings when his disciple mentions not understanding who Yun Xiang's lover is, wondering if it is Yang Di. Meng Bai lets her brother know that she was talking about Guofang, the man on the statue in Jia Lan Academy and Yang Di's teacher. Remarking that Guofang looks imposing but isn't that handsome, Meng Bai questions if he was an idiot to reject the #1 beauty on earth. All these comments make poor Yun Xiao spit out his drink, and he declares that it's called being experienced in matters of the heart. However, Meng Bai is convinced that the man was either an idiot or swung the other way. Chen Zun and Han Bai jump in, agreeing with the kid. Me personally, I wouldn't take this level of disrespect. While Yun Xiao gets disrespected by his own supporters, Qin Ruk Sue arrives there, questioning what gift he has prepared for her. Chen Zun and Han Bai excitedly bring out their gifts, leaving Yun Xiao sweating since he didn't get her anything. Seeing this, Li Yi snarks that the boy has come just to get a free lunch. Of course, Yun Xiao strongly rejects this notion, despite it being true. Regardless, the reincarnated soul walks up to the princess, announcing that he will play her a piece. Li Yi starts laughing, mocking Yun Xiao for being broke and resorting to playing the piano. Once again, he is embarrassed by a one-liner from the boy. Meanwhile, Qin Ruk Sue gets excited to hear Yun Xiao play. This depresses the other important figures, as they weren't even able to make her smile despite their overly expensive gifts earlier. With all eyes on him, Yun Xiao unties his hair and begins playing the string piano. Seeing him radiate the aura of a grandmaster, Commander Xiao Qingwang gets stunned. Soon, the entire banquet hall is filled with a tranquil mood. The Guofang Odyssey begins to play, as Qin Ruk Sue feels her heart fluttering at the scene. Right then, the guards come running to Qin Zong, informing him that all the flowers in the garden are in full bloom. Everyone rushes to witness the beautiful sight, while Yun Xiao mutters a poem. Looking on at the beautiful flowers under the moonlight, Ruk Sue wonders how teacher Lu would have felt hearing the Guofang Odyssey. At the same time, Cheng Wang notes that Gu Feiyang played the piece for Chu Hongyan when they first met in the violet bamboo forest of Qiyang Hua Island. The heavenly sound caused the god of flowers to awaken, compelling the flowers to bloom even in winter. Having never thought that an ordinary person like him would be able to witness it too, the commander questions just how many times the mortal realm deserves to hear a piece that is fit to exist only in the heavens. Back then, Chu Hongyan danced for someone, a man who turned the heavens on their heads for her. A real man right here, folks. Having never heard such a beautiful piece in his entire life, Emperor Qinzheng starts clapping. He thinks that after this, the palace musicians can all pack their bags and get lost. While everyone cheers for Yun Xiao, Li Yi remarks that the boy playing well can't compare to his demon egg. However, Commander Xiao Qingwang declares that he would be willing to pay anything to listen to Yun Xiao's precious gift again. Li Yi tells him to just make the boy play the piece a few more times if he wants to listen to it that badly. Right then, Yun Xiao chimes in, remarking that the circumstances must be right in order to play a heavenly piece. Back then, the #1 beauty of Earth was in the violet bamboo forest. Today, the god of flowers appeared because Princess Ruk Sue was in the palace. 808. The reincarnated soul murmurs, mocking the slave for not knowing such a thing. Meanwhile, Qin Ruk Sue gets flustered at Yun Xiao, comparing her to Chu Hongyan, aka Earth's #1 beauty. Someone's in love. Continuing to plot, Li Yi announces that he has also prepared a gift for the commander, something that will remedy the unfixable internal injury he suffered while fighting the martial king, Yi Xiaoshan. Li Yi then orders Fang Zhen, a first-tier alchemist, to bring out the clear dragon's eye pill. Cheng Wang realizes that he has a few years left at most if he doesn't do anything, leaving him no choice but to accept the gift. As Tian Shui would suffer greatly if Cheng Wang were to lose his abilities, Emperor Qinzheng declares that Li Yi has made a great contribution, promising to grant him any reward he asks for. The substitute head of the Li family then announces that he wants to marry Princess Ruk Sue, wanting to make his position permanent by being her fiancé. Ruk Sue strongly protests against the idea, begging her father not to accept the proposal. However, Qinzheng tells the girl not to be stubborn, as Li Yi's earlier gift proves that his feelings for her are genuine. Of course, the emperor actually wants to use Li Yi to keep the Li family in check, thinking that even his precious daughter can't be compared to the well-being of the country. Father, unable to believe that her loving father would do such a thing, Ru Sue erupts into tears and smashes the precious demon egg to bits. Just as Yun Xiao said, the gift is nothing but a rotten egg. Ru Sue turns over to Qin Zheng and asks him if Li Yi's feelings are still genuine. However, the emperor defends him, being of the view that someone scamming Li Yi doesn't taint his pure intentions. Right as the emperor is about to make the engagement official, a voice echoes in the banquet hall, telling him to hold on. It is none other than Yun Xiao, now claiming that the clear dragon's eye pill is fake too. As presenting a fake pill to His Majesty would warrant the death penalty, the court officials doubt that anyone would dare to do such a thing. However, Ru Sue doesn't doubt it at all and shouts at her father to execute Li Yi. Turning over to Yun Xiao, Li Yi shouts at him for once again lying to His Majesty. Again, mutters the reincarnated soul as the rotten demon egg continues to reap behind them. As Yun Xiao's accusation is grave, the commander questions if he has any proof. The boy reveals that the fake will can produce a strong poison upon coming into contact with blood and water, killing whoever ingests it on the spot, while Li Yi continues to ramble in fear. Yun Xiao presents a simple test to verify his claims. First, put a bit of blood on the pill and feed it to a dog. If the dog dies of poisoning, it will mean that the pill is fake. Otherwise, Yun Xiao will have been proven wrong and they will still have time to kill the dog to retrieve the pill. Satisfied with this plan, Qin Zheng commands his servants to bring a dog there, wanting to see which of the two boys has the guts to lie at him. Yun Xiao commands servant number 8527 to give his filthy blood for the process. While Li Yi gets enraged, the reincarnated soul reveals that he was talking to Manga, his new number 8527. Yun Xiao even makes the new servant greet his predecessor, causing the entire banquet hall to burst out laughing yet again. Blue got played. Despite Manbai's protests, Yun Xiao forces him to drop his blood on the pill. With this, he makes sure that Li Yi can't escape the sin of presenting a poisonous pill. After all, the heaven and earth body's origin poison is something that even his past self couldn't diffuse. Unaware of this, Li Yi thinks that Yun Xiao will swap out the pill while feeding it to the dog and makes a guard do the honors instead. At first, nothing happens, causing Ru Sue to fall into a depression. Despite this, she vows to protect Yun Xiao's life even if it means accepting the marriage. Meanwhile, Li Yi starts laughing at the boy for deceiving the emperor. However, his loud howls soon turn into whimpers upon noticing the royal court's murderous stares. He turns around only to see the dog from before lying lifeless on the ground. What the dog doing? With this, Qin Zheng commands his guards to drag Li Yi and Fang Zhen away, locking them in the imperial prison. Before the squirming subjects, the emperor feels conflicted as the pawn that he placed to restrict the Li family is no longer in place. Feeling his injuries flaring up, Commander Xiao Qingwang takes his leave. Qin Zheng bids him farewell, announcing that he will have his men bring 100 nourishing pills to his mansion. Right then, Yun Xiao asks the commander to slow down, wanting to take a look at his injuries, since the boy cured Ru Sue's illness with the golden needle acupuncture method. Qin Zheng encourages Qingwang to fulfill his request. The desperate commander sits down beside Yun Xiao, who activates divine sense to observe his injuries. Unaware of his status, Qingwang ends up offending the reincarnated soul by calling him a kid. Regardless, Yun Xiao starts listing the commander's symptoms. Much to the latter's surprise, the former's words are spot on. As Qingwang gets excited about the solution, Yun Xiao resumes eating his food, remarking that a kid can't really do anything. Dead silence descends on the banquet, as no one has dared to do such a thing to Qingwang ever before. Things only take a turn for the worse when the reincarnated soul demands that the commander call him young Master Yun. Qingwang questions who the kid thinks he's talking to, only to get told to shut up if he doesn't want to call him that. Standing over the disrespectful boy, Qingwang unleashes his imposing presence. Unfazed, Yun Xiao simply compliments the martial king. Everyone in the banquet hall starts thinking that he has lost his mind, while Li Baifeng jumps in to apologize for his nephew's arrogance. Suddenly, Qingwang bursts out laughing. Smacking Yun Xiao on the back, he celebrates that Li Chunyang's heir has the same demeanor as him. Calling the boy young Master Yun, Qingwang questions if his injuries can be cured. Of course, Yun Xiao wants to make him work some more for it, considering the smack moments ago broke his shoulder bone. While the reincarnated soul and the commander banter like old friends, the banquet hall comes to realize that the Li family finally has a worthy heir. Afterwards, Ru Sue thanks Yun Xiao, who tells her not to mention it as he will do anything for her, leaving the former redder than a tomato. Bro gotta chill at this point. Flustered, the girl runs off. Yun Xiao begins to head out too, telling Qingwan that he will tell him the solution when he remembers it. Intrigued by the boy, the commander leaves. Later, Yun Xiao's friends run up to him, questioning how he could tell that the pill was poisonous. Leaving the palace, the reincarnated soul informs them of how he used Meng Bai's heaven and earth poisonous body to frame Li Yi. Despite their young master Yun's lies, they feel glad that he regards them as confidants. Right then, the second prince, Qin Yue, invites Yun Xiao to have a chat. Not wanting to be alone with a man in the middle of the night, the boy rejects him. When Qin Yue uses his pretty maids as bargaining chips though, Yun Xiao accepts his invitation wholeheartedly. Where is your loyalty, lil bro? After exchanging pleasantries, Qin Yue tells Yun Xiao that the most mysterious commander of the State Guardian's 3rd unit, Bai Mo, prophesies that he would meet the benefactor of his life tonight. As Yun Xiao questions if the commander is really such an expert, Qin Yue summons her. Though the boy admits that the second prince has a capable person as his benefactor in Bai Mo, he refuses to take part in any coup. Hearing this, Bai Mo reveals that Qin Yue will be the monarch of Tianshui in the future. As such, helping him will be of great benefit to the Li family in the future. Initially, Yun Xiao had no intention of dealing with the Li family's problems. However, as their blood flows in his veins, the reincarnated soul wants to express his gratitude for being born into the Li family. What a respectable young man. Surely he won't act rude to his elders anytime soon. As guaranteeing their future when required looking for a backer, Yun Xiao makes the second prince promise to ensure the Li family's prosperity for as long as he lives. Qin Yue vows to fulfill his request, and Yun Xiao asks what he can do for him. Worrying that all their plans will be overturned if Qingwan's incurable injury gets healed, Bai Mo questions how sure Yun Xiao is about his ability to treat him. 100%. Hearing these words come out of the boy's mouth, Qin Yue changes his plans, wanting to turn Qingwan to their side to keep his elder brother in check. Right then, Yun Xiao remarks that the second prince is only 16 years old, more than 30 years younger than Prince Yang. As such, His Majesty must be supporting Qin Yue to ascend the throne. Yun Xiao also reveals that Qin Zheng doesn't have much time left, having noticed a silver tint in his eyes, a symptom pointing to chronic poisoning. So, the boy wants Qin Yue to have the emperor hastily announce him as the heir to the throne, convinced that he intends to do so already. However, Bai Mo and Qin Yue shake their heads in disappointment, noting that if even someone as brilliant as Yun Xiao thinks like this, no wonder everyone else does too. The second prince laments that he is just a pawn in his father's game, one he is using against Qin Yang. Qin Yue proclaims that he doesn't want to fight for the throne, but Qin Zheng has left him no choice. With regret in his voice, the young prince declares that the only person that his father wants to protect is himself. Nah, this guy is a villain. Through the bits and pieces of information that he gets, Yun Xiao manages to understand the full picture, impressing Bai Mo and Qin Yue. The second prince then reveals that the battle for the throne will be decided by a majority vote between 6 important people: Prime Minister Lan Hong, Yun Xiao's grandfather Duke Jing Guo, Commander Qingwan, Palace's head refiner Zhang Qingfen, Guildmaster Xu Hun, and Jia Lan Academy's Dean Zhang Li Shan. While Qin Yue gets excited that he will soon have the majority on his side, Yun Xiao reminds him that all his efforts will be in vain as long as Qin Zheng leaves. However, if the emperor suddenly perishes and everyone comes to know that Qin Yang poisoned him, then Qin Yue will have nothing to fear. Hearing all this, the desperate second prince promises to even announce his sister Ru Su's wedding with Yun Xiao in exchange for his help. Get this poor girl a new family. Right then, assassins attack Qin Yue's carriage. Despite this, he remains unfazed, as no one except the emperor's 2 martial kings can hurt him as long as Bai Mo is by his side. However, Yun Xiao thinks that the situation will be a bit trickier this time around. Bai Mo then moves out to intercept the attackers, and Qin Yue proclaims that no assassin shall be forgiven tonight. "Move, your highness," shouts out the commander moments later, as blasts of energy fly towards the carriage and shatter the barrier around it. Bai Mo comes rushing to Qin Yue's side, but he is just fine, having been kicked away by Yun Xiao. The commander scolds Yun Xiao for prioritizing the maids over the second prince, getting told that his arms instinctually move to save the 2 beautiful women. Let him cook. As the group begins to think of a way to escape, two hooded figures approach them. Bai Mo quickly recognizes them as the commander and deputy commander of the State Guardians Unit 1, Guofang and Jimeng. Facing off against the martial lord of the Four Quadrants realm and the martial master of the Three Powers realm, Bai Mo worries that the odds are stacked against them. After a bit of back and forth with Bai Mo, Guofang vows to kill them all today. He orders Jimeng to kill Qin Yue, Li Yun Xiao, and the two maids, while he takes on the commander himself. The fight begins, and the second prince is left to fend for himself. However, he uses the barrier of his Sanskrit Sea and Cloud flag to block Jimeng's onslaught. As the flag cannot be broken without the strength of a martial king but only lasts for an hour at most, Guofang commands Jimeng to kill Yun Xiao and the two maids first, declaring that they will deal with Qin Yue after an hour. Bai Mo screams at the boy to run and get help, only for Jimeng to block his path of escape by unleashing his Peach Blossom Sword Intent. Fruity name. Instead of running away, Yun Xiao claims that Jimeng's technique and proceeds to demonstrate the real Peach Blossom Sword Intent, realizing that his sword intent is rubbish compared to the real deal despite having practiced it for more than 30 years. Jimeng feels like kneeling. Yun Xiao promises to teach him the true Peach Blossom Sword Intent if Jimeng submits to him. As his subordinate freezes up, Guofang shouts at him to not forget their mission. However, Yun Xiao's offer to help progress his martial arts is just too tempting for Jimeng to give up. Apologizing to Guofang, Jimeng abandons the mission. The former realizes that there's no point in staying there any longer and flies off, vowing to see Bai Mo again soon. Jimeng tells Yun Xiao not to misunderstand things, as he will take his leave after learning the Peach Blossom Sword Intent. The reincarnated soul snarks at Jimeng, telling him not to come back later, crying and begging to follow him. Impressed by the hidden martial intentions in every word Yun Xiao says and each step he takes, the group heads back to Qin Yue's royal quarters. The next day, it was announced that Li Yi was stripped of his official title, but the emperor allowed him to maintain control of the Li family. Hearing this, Yun Xiao and his friends pay him a visit. Servant 8527 attacks them as soon as they show up, only to get issued an execution order for the crimes of attacking a royal official and a state guardian. Bro fell for it? Hook, line, and sinker. Li Yi proclaims that he was appointed as the Li family's head by His Majesty himself, but Yun Xiao reminds him that his title is no longer official. Yun Xiao's forces jump Li Yi. However, with his 5-star cultivation and an unsealed Suan weapon, he literally freezes them in their tracks. Yun Xiao quickly follows up the onslaught, unsealing his sword to unleash a 10-fold gravity field on Li Yi. Unfreezing his forces in the process, backed into a corner, the substitute head grits his teeth. Li Yi dodges Yun Xiao's assault only to end up in Jimeng's line of attack. Right then, a Four-Quadrant realm martial lord appears to help Li Yi escape. However, the idiotic substitute head tells him to hold on, wanting to get rid of the pest known as Yun Xiao first. Much to Li Yi's dismay, blazing flames in the form of a technique called city incineration interrupt his technique. The martial lord summons his trident to unleash a flood, counteracting the fire. Using the resulting smoke as cover, he finally picks up Li Yi and runs away. The person responsible for the earlier attack then reveals themselves, being none other than Luo Yunxiang. The teacher questions what's going on, but Yun Xiao flips it on her and asks why she is there. Having heard that the boy performed the Gu Onling Odyssey last night and made the flowers bloom, Yunxiang expresses the desire to hear it too. You snooze, you lose, lady. However, Yun Xiao remarks that he doesn't have the same environment available as last night to play it. Teacher Luo wonders if he could perform it for her later on. Without answering Yunxiang's query, Yun Xiao informs her of the martial lord realm assassin who's working with Li Yi. Wanting the conspirators to be dealt with, he requests the teacher to inform His Majesty about the situation. Yunxiang then questions if Yun Xiao can treat Commander Xiao Qingwang's injury, getting assured that he can heal him. Stop flexing, dude. The teacher then heads off, remarking that she will send people to guard Yun Xiao while he treats Qingwang. Later, the reincarnated soul tells his forces to wait for him outside. Taking a stroll through the Li family's stronghold, Yun Xiao arrives at a broken-down house and shouts at the old man to come out already, getting no response. Annoyed, Yun Xiao brings out his blade and starts tearing the house apart. Suddenly, a swirl of energy cuts the boy's hand, making the sword go flying out of it. A voice questions how he found him, prompting Yun Xiao to remark that their souls reacted. After all, blood is thicker than water. Complimenting the voice's owner for still being just as vicious when attacking, Yun Xiao looks towards the door, boasting a long beard and wearing sunglasses. An old man walks in. Holding the reincarnated soul's blade in his hands, he proclaims, "How interesting. Rat." This old fart is none other than Li Yun Xiao's grandpa and the state lord himself, Li Chunyang. Observing Yun Xiao closely, the old man vows that he has opened all of his meridians and become a 4-star martial warrior. Unamused, Yun Xiao snatches his black lass out of Chunyang's hands, questioning why he was playing hide and seek there. Had the boy not noticed his breaths, he would have thought that 8527 did him in. Not even taking his name, the disrespect is crazy. Remarking that a mere servant can't go up against him, Chunyang wonders how Yun Xiao noticed his breaths. The boy notes that if his foundational skills weren't enough to notice the old man, he wouldn't have managed to defeat Li Yi earlier. While Chunyang gets baffled at his personal stealth arts being defeated like this, Yun Xiao sits down to talk, wanting to know the stance on the Li family's situation. Deciding to verify Yun Xiao's motives, Chunyang asks him what he thinks his stance is. The reincarnated soul rightly monologues about the old man concealing himself to observe events in peace and to plan for the future of the Li family, even predicting his exact response. Yun Xiao also concludes that Chunyang has broken through to the 5 elements realm and become a martial king, making his grandfather feel delighted that the Li family finally has a definite successor. Chunyang then reveals that he also had another purpose. It was to see who could accumulate the largest amount of influence without him around. However, the events only disappointed him. Yun Xiao's father also came back once in secret and left in relief after seeing Chunyang. Only the boy's 4th uncle was borderline useful, but even that was tainted by his support of Li Yi. Of course, Yun Xiao's recent performance has exceeded all of Chunyang's expectations. The boy has no thoughts regarding matters in the family though, and he tells his grandpa to look for a successor elsewhere. After all, the path of martial arts is much more important than mundane politics for him. As for matters of the country, with Yun Xiao's backing, Qin Yue's ascension to the throne will be indisputable. Announcing that times have changed since he went into seclusion, Chunyang gets up, vowing to bring the entire Li family into Yun Xiao's mad quest. Suddenly, the senile old man starts squishing and tapping around on the nearby pillar, opening a secret stairway. Without saying a word, Chunyang starts heading down, and Yun Xiao quickly chases behind him. They come to a hidden room, where a 3rd-tier alchemist is treating a 3-star martial lord. Chunyang rushes to them, relieving the martial lord of his agony. 3 men in a secret room. Sus. Chunyang tells the alchemist, Master Sun, that the benumbing qi invading his good friend Da Sheng has gradually condensed over time, requiring a great energy cost to suppress it. However, Sun has tried his best. After a month, neither the alchemist's soothing pills nor Chunyang's power as a 1-star martial king will be enough to suppress the poisonous qi. Da Sheng regrets that he has been a burden on Chunyang for many years, lamenting that the old man could have stepped into the legendary 6 dimensions realm had he not transferred true qi into him every day. Feeling happy that he will no longer be holding back his dear friend, Da Sheng lets out a bittersweet chuckle. As Master Sun begins to head out, Yun Xiao tells him to hold on, doubting his abilities as even a lowly 3rd-tier alchemist. Sun gets enraged, as even the Emperor would have to greet him if they met. He boasts about how he was traveling within the Dusk Flame Empire while Yun Xiao was still wearing diapers. Still, the reincarnated soul gives him no face. Chunyang tries to excuse Yun Xiao's disrespect, but the 3rd-tier alchemist demands that 4 of the boy's limbs get torn off as compensation. Scolding him for turning this into such a big deal, Yun Xiao punches Sun into oblivion. Holding his face in disbelief, Sun questions how the boy dares to hit a 3rd-tier alchemist. Thinking that there's nothing great about being just an alchemist, Yun Xiao reveals his 2nd-tier alchemist badge. While the elders get shocked, the reincarnated soul tells Sun that trash like him must understand one thing. As there's always a bigger fish, an alchemist like him might just get beaten to death because of his cockiness. So Yun Xiao slaps Sun to educate him, wanting to spare him that fate. The latter tries to speak up, but the former's threat of another slap makes him flinch, having felt earlier that dodging Yun Xiao would be impossible. Telling the alchemist to get lost while he is still playing nice, the boy turns his back to Sun. Still in disbelief, Chunyang asks Yun Xiao if his alchemist badge is really real. The reincarnated soul confirms that it is, as no one in the whole Tianwu continent would dare to forge this thing. This makes Chen Yang scream out, questioning just how much more Yun Xiao is keeping from him. Seeing this sight, Da Sheng laughs, remarking that Chen Yang's descendant is not only suitable for being his heir, but he is also probably unrivaled in the entire country of Tian Shui. Goat finally getting respect. Right then, Yun Xiao notes that Da Sheng is Chen Zun's grandfather, someone who should have died in battle a few years ago. Chen Yang chimes in, revealing that Da Sheng is suffering now because of him, as he was supposed to fight that battle instead. However, as Chen Yang was in seclusion, Xiao Qingwang chose Da Sheng to replace him in a rush. It was also the same fight in which the commander sustained his internal injuries. Back then, Tian Shui and the 100 Battles country fought for one of the 3 superior auxiliary country positions under the lead of the Dusk Flame Empire. Despite winning the battle, Tian Shui lost over 100 experts at the Martial Master realm or above. Yun Xiao questions why mere country rankings can result in such fierce and cruel conflicts, getting told that it's actually a battle for resources disguised as a ranking battle. After all, power is crucial in order to survive in Tianwu. As such, many empires have strong sects and large families backing them. For instance, the Dusk Flame Empire that Tian Shui is attached to is supported by the Heaven Gathering sect. Hearing this, Yun Xiao remembers his past life. Hua Qianshu, Guofang's eldest disciple, took on a disciple who was the son of the sect master of a Heaven Gathering sect. Yun Xiao can't remember his name anymore though. Chen Yang continues that the sect leader of the Heaven Gathering sect, Qin Feng, is a 7 constellations realm martial emperor. Being just a step away from becoming an 8 desolation realm martial supreme, he is even martial sovereign Hua Qianshu's direct disciple. Finally, Yun Xiao remembers the name of his disciple's disciple, warning his grandson to never provoke the Heaven Gathering sect. Chen Yang notes that it would be wise to opt out of the upcoming ranking battle, as it happens every 5 years. He thinks that Tian Shui should use this opportunity to rest and recuperate, being the winner of the last one. Yun Xiao remarks that they will have to hurry, as His Majesty won't be willing to sit on the sidelines. Moreover, only Qin Yue ascending to the throne will help Yun Xiao persuade the emperor to opt out of the battle. Being out of the loop, Da Sheng gets informed by Chen Yang on the country's current matters. His heart aches upon hearing how Qin Zheng treats his loyal servants, and he leaves the Chen family in Chen Yang's hands after his death. The latter then vows to make sure that the Chen family won't collapse for as long as the Li family stands, after which the 2 old friends start crying while holding hands. Need someone to hold my hands like this for real. Yun Xiao then announces that they don't have to talk so morbidly, remarking that Da Sheng is afflicted by the same kind of poison affecting Xiao Qingwang. Confirming this to be the case, Chen Yang reveals the inflictor to be the martial king, Yi Xiaoshan. The reincarnated soul notes that the ice element attack of the martial lord who saved Li Yi earlier was also composed of benumbing qi, albeit being way weaker than the poison in Da Sheng's body. Hearing this, Chen Yang questions how Li Yi is supported by both the emperor and Yi Xiaoshan, as the old fart laments not taking care of Li Yi a long time ago. Yu Xiao remarks that they will have more than enough opportunities to kill him. The reincarnated soul wants to cure Elder Chun's poison first, confusing Chen Yang. After all, not even the 3rd-tier alchemist, Sun Zhongzong, could manage to accomplish this feat. Don't worry, blood is built different. Yun Xiao notes that his current level makes it hard for him to completely get rid of the poison, but it should still be enough to suppress the poison. Although Master Sun was on the right track with his medicinal pills, his inexperience caused him to use the wrong medicine. Chen Yang's qi type was also a problem, as Di Shum's condition requires strong, extreme yang qi. As men of the martial kings walk the path of extreme yang qi, Chen Yang wonders where they will find someone like that. Of course, Yun Xiao has someone in mind who fits the picture, despite this person slightly lacking in abilities. The one he is thinking of is the commander of the 4th team of the State Guardians, Luo Yunxiang. Hearing this, Chen Yang rushes to catch the lass, getting stopped by his friend and grandson. Yun Xiao tells his grandfather not to rush to find Luo Yunxiang, as he needs to first refine some medicinal pills that can suppress the cold poison. Worrying about the ingredients, the boy gets handed the key to the Li family's secret vault. Here comes the money. Hoping to find resources that can increase his cultivation speed, Yun Xiao quickly heads off to his 4th uncle, getting guided to the secret vault. Arriving before the vault door marked by an unknown array, Yun Xiao recognizes it to be a vermilion bird divine fire array. He asks the fourth uncle how long the secret vault has existed, finding out that it was there before the Li family set foot in the country. Seeing the 9th grade array that was lost a long time ago, Yun Xiao concludes that the Li family's ancestors must have been a superpower who held sway over the entire continent. He then opens the secret vault with the key, as it is a restricted area that can't be entered without the permission of the patriarch. The fourth uncle waits for Yun Xiao outside. Heading inside, the reincarnated soul realizes that the secret vault is a large interstitial space supported by some divine artifact. Yun Xiao activates his moon eye technique to locate this support, finding a glowing rock. He peers into it, but the stone tablet's tremendous power attacks his soul itself. Being stronger than the dude's plot armor is crazy. Bleeding from his left eye, Yun Xiao stubbornly vows to see what the rock really is. With a poetic chant, the reincarnated soul summons a divine droplet of water and trickles it onto the stone tablet, shattering it to unveil its true form as the Divine Realm Tablet. Yun Xiao questions what the Divine Realm Tablet is, unable to believe that it burned his soul directly through his moon eye technique, feeling that the strange energy fluctuation in it is superior to his 9th grade mystic weapon. The Star/Slash Sword, Yun Xiao questions if the Divine Realm Tablet is an artifact of the ultimate 10 Worlds realm. As the only power that can directly attack the soul is the legendary power of the martial god, Yun Xiao concludes that the Divine Realm Tablet is an artifact left behind by such a being. He then activates his Great Expansion Divine Technique, which echoes with the power of the tablet and condenses into a proper shape. Double whammy. With this, Yun Xiao realizes that the soul cultivation technique he acquired in the last moments of his past life was once practiced by a martial god. Through strained efforts, the reincarnated soul manages to take the Divine Realm Tablet into his sea of consciousness. Naturally, the interstitial space disappears, leaving behind a cave, as was the original appearance of the place. The Divine Realm Tablet also helps Yun Xiao break through to the level of a peak 5 stars warrior. However, all this comes with the side effect of only being able to access the interstitial space within the tablet with his divine sense, making it function like an extra storage. Regardless, as the pros far outweigh the cons, Yun Xiao happily starts heading out of the cave to prepare for the rainy days ahead. Going over to the Alchemist Association with Ji Meng, the reincarnated soul demands that they ask Jia Rong to come out of seclusion to meet him, assuring them that the first-tier alchemist wouldn't blame them, as disturbing an alchemist's cultivation in seclusion can lead to dire consequences. Ji Meng and the others advise him against it. Of course, Yun Xiao has no intention of listening to them, as he wants Jia Rong's help to refine a batch of medicinal pills. The boy gives Liang Wan the last chance to call Jia Rong out, but the alchemist doesn't move. Pretending to storm out angrily, Yun Xiao announces that he can no longer do anything about Xiao Qing Wang's injury. Hearing this, poor Wan Yu vows to drag Jia Rong out even if he's in a life-or-death meditation, knowing that the Emperor or President Shu Han will skin him alive if the commander's treatment gets delayed because of him. This sight leaves the others questioning just who Yun Xiao really is. Arriving at the seclusion chamber, Wan Yu orders Lu Yao to go and bring Jia Rong out. With trembling hands and teary, the poor receptionist tells Jia Rong that something needs him to come out of seclusion, getting worried for her life. As Wan Yu and Lu Yao feared, Jia Rong runs outside in an unparalleled fury and starts shouting at the crying girl for disturbing his cultivation. As he was just one step away from becoming a second-tier alchemist, Jia Rong starts raging at Wan Yu, accusing him of deliberately halting his process. Who's gonna tell him? Unable to take it anymore, Wan Yu informs Jia Rong that it was his young master Yun who insisted that they bring him out. As the boy confirms his statement, Wan Yu looks forward to seeing how Yun Xiao will suffer now. Meanwhile, Jia Rong once again starts screaming at Lu Yao. Only this time he scolds her for not informing him earlier and wasting his young master Yun's precious time. Treating the reincarnated soul with utmost care and respect, Jia Rong blames the association's workers for their current situation. The alchemist even swears that he wouldn't have gone into seclusion if he knew of Yun Xiao's arrival, leaving the others questioning their existence. Of course, the reincarnated decides to tease Jia Rong even more, frying the poor guy's brain to the point that he labels himself stupid for choosing the wrong time to break through. Lu Yao, Ji Meng, and Wan Yu all wonder the same thing. Is he really Jia Rong? Jia Rong brings his young master Yun and Ji Meng to the largest training room in the association. Suddenly, The reincarnated starts swinging around his sword in a powerful and fierce style, carving out lifelike, delicate handwriting on the walls. After writing this poem, Yun Xiao gives Meng an ultimatum. If the latter still can't comprehend the higher artistic conception of peach blossom from this poem by the time the former finishes his cultivation, then it will prove that he isn't gifted. In that case, Meng won't have to follow Yun Xiao again. The reincarnated soul and Jia Rong then head to the refinement chamber, where the first-tier alchemist instructs Lu Yao not to disturb them even if the king dies. Announcing that it's time to make the first batch of pills, Yun Xiao informs Jia Rong that his job is mainly to learn. However, he will also take over when the boy's soul power is exhausted. Of course, Yun Xiao doesn't expect Jia Rong to do much, so he assigns all the odd tasks to him, something that the loyal servant happily accepts. Gibby slavery. Using his divine sense, Yun Xiao moves all the materials out of the Divine Realm tablet's interstitial space, summoning them to the refinement chamber. Since some of the medicinal pills he's going to refine this time are of pure yang, the boy laments that he won't be able to control the whole process with his current soul power. As even a person's excellent skill cannot make up for the lack of soul power, the first thing on their agenda is to become second-tier alchemists, Yun Xiao and Jia Rong both. Before that, though, the boy will have a cup of tea. While Yun Xiao cultivates in seclusion, a major event occurs in Tiandang. Patriarch Li Chunyang, who everyone thought was being controlled by Li Yi, makes his sudden reappearance. Regaining the power of the Li family, he declares Li Yi to be a spy of the enemy state, issuing a statewide killing order for him. Chunyang also roots out Li Yi's accomplices among the court officials, confiscating their properties. Those who are foolish enough to fight back get their bodies fed to dogs, striking fear in hearts throughout the country. However, the main character of the whole incident, Li Yi, disappears completely, never to be seen again. Why are you running? Sitting in the Lan family's courtyard in the Prime Minister's residence, Lan Guofang, Lan Suman, and Lan Fei's dad discusses Chunyang's recent actions with his father, the head scribe Lan Hong. Lan Hong thinks that all this is just a ruse from the old cadre to hide his true intentions, which is also why His Majesty hasn't reprimanded him. The head scribe wonders what situation Chunyang has seen to make him decide to jump out at this time, lamenting why he can't see as well. Between the Emperor allowing Chunyang to misbehave and the Li family's recent targets being mainly from Prince Qinyang's faction, it's pretty evident to him that the old man has taken Qin Yue's side. However, Lan Hong questions what information Chunyang possesses to have made this decision. In the end, he concludes that it's the ultimate gamble to either prosper for centuries or fall beyond redemption. With his son chiming in from time to time, Lan Hong brings up the mysterious abilities of Li Yun Xiao, wondering if the reason for Chunyang's boldness is his confidence in his grandson being able to cure Xiao Cheng Wang's internal injuries. Lan Guofang starts losing his mind at the thought of the commander siding with Qin Yue, getting told to calm down and remember not to make any mistakes. Meanwhile, inside the council chamber at Qinyang's residence, his advisors put forward suggestions to counteract Chunyang's recent shenanigans. Right then, a voice from outside the chamber offers to provide Qinyang with 3 plans to ensure his successful ascension to the throne. Hearing this voice, the prince gets enraged, questioning how a spy from the state of Baijian still has the courage to come see him. Shouting at Li Yi for being the one who caused all this, Qinyang instructs him to leave his head behind now that he is there. Surrounded by the prince's forces, Li Yi questions why Qinyang wants to kill the only person who can help him now. Answering Li Yi's query, Qinyang declares that he's a prince of Tiandang. As such, it's only right for him to kill a spy from the 100 Battles country. Suddenly, the 2 hooded figures backing Li Yi freeze Qinyang's guards on the spot. Guofang informs the prince that not only are both of them very powerful experts of the martial lord realm, but Li Yi is also at the level of a great martial master. Standing his guards down, Qinyang questions how the spy plans to help him. Li Yi reveals that his 3-step solution aims to help the second prince accomplish 3 things: getting Li Chunyang out of the capital, killing Xiao Cheng Wang, and keeping Zhang Li Shan under control. Hearing these crazed things, Qinyang loses it. After all, what Li Yi is suggesting will bring the country to ruins. Telling the crown prince to calm down and think about it, Li Yi points out what will happen if they don't go through with this plan, painting a hopeless picture for Qinyang in the process. The dude got a degree in brainwashing. The second prince laments that his favorable situation has become dangerous ever since Li Yun Xiao appeared, and he questions why he can't just kill him instead of the commander. Li Yi reminds Qin Yang what happened the last time he sent his man to put down Yun Xiao. Not only did the assassination fail, but they even lost a vice commander, Jimeng. On the other hand, killing Xiao Qingwan will make Guofang the main commander of the State Guardians, resulting in Qin Yang gaining control over all 5 teams of the State Guardians. The cunning Li Yi questions why the prince is worrying about not succeeding. He then puts forward a plan how to corner Li Changfeng's Feilong army, consequently getting rid of Li Chunyang. Once again, Qin Yang protests. After all, Li Yi's idea would greatly damage the country of Tianshui, making way for the 100 Battles country to take advantage. Remarking that his worries are entirely understandable, Li Yi assures Qin Yang that this is just to get Chunyang away from Tianshui to help him take the throne. Simply put, the second prince will help the 100 Battles country take the position of a superior country at a crucial moment. In return, Li Yi will make sure that Qin Yang claims Tianshui's throne. Blinded by the idea that many would then heed his every word and the heavens would be his, the greedy second prince bursts out laughing in excitement. Bro deserves to get spanked or something. Elsewhere in the Alchemist Association's refining room, Jia Rong notes that they have created the 20th true second-tier mystic fire pill. It is not something that a second-tier refiner can create, but under Yun Xiao's guidance, the pill was produced in bulk. Jia Rong then informs Yun Xiao that only one spirit-nourishing pill is left. As there aren't many thousand-bird pills either, the reincarnated soul orders his servant to give him the 1,000-bird pills and take the spirit-nourishing pill himself. After recovering his spirit power, Jia Rong is to refine a pot of spirit-nourishing pills first, and stop the production of mystic fire pills to help Yun Xiao refine some 1,000-bird pills. The reincarnated soul then hands the alchemist the recipe for the pills, regarding them as mere street stall stock. However, Jia Rong celebrates, knowing that the effect of his young master Yun's pills is way beyond store-bought ones. Consuming the spirit-nourishing pill, the first-tier alchemist is surrounded by sparks of inspiration in his conscience, being a sign that he is about to ascend to the second tier. Jia Rong proclaims to ascend like a man possessed from today onwards, only to get struck by Lu Yao's voice calling them out of seclusion, remarking that something has happened to the Li family. With his ascension interrupted, Jia Rong starts falling into the abyss of knowledge. As the alchemist worries about the severe consequences of not escaping from there, he hears Yun Xiao's voice telling him to open his eyes and look at him. Right then, Jia Rong gets sucked into a swirling vortex and pops out in front of the reincarnated soul's divine expansion technique. A sharp pain strikes his forehead, bringing the alchemist out of the abyss of knowledge. As blood flows down Jia Rong's head, Yun Xiao scolds him for fainting from just that much pain. The latter questions how the former will follow him if he's so weak. Bursting into tears, Jia Rong clings to Yun Xiao, complaining about once again getting interrupted when he was finally about to break through. He labels Lu Yao his bad luck charm. However, Yun Xiao doesn't understand Jia Rong's complaints. After all, he is already a second-tier alchemist. Overcome with joy at the realization, Jia Rong wants to make sure this isn't a dream and asks his young master Yun to hit him really hard. Of course, the reincarnated soul gladly complies with the request, proving that it's reality. Poor Bai got shattered like Legos. Rolling around on the ground, Jia Rong complains about Yun Xiao actually hitting him really hard. Seeing this, the reincarnated soul mutters that he has never seen someone so shameless anywhere on the continent of Tianwu. He then laments that even consuming all those 1,000-bird pills only managed to ascend him to a 6-star warrior. Yun Xiao isn't ungrateful though, as he celebrates at least breaking through to a second-tier refiner, making it so his cultivation finally matches the rank of his badge. Right then, Lu Yao barges into the refinement chamber. She informs the boy that his father, Li Changfeng, has been cut off and surrounded by the army of the 100 Battles country in Shining Gold City. As all contact with Changfeng has been lost, Duke Jing Guo is furiously preparing to lead an army to save him. So, Lu Yao has been ordered to ask Yun Xiao to come out of seclusion to take care of the Li family business for the time being. Noting that things have already gotten this messy even though they went into seclusion about 10 days ago, the reincarnated soul rages, vowing to grant the wish of all those who are so desperate to die. As Yun Xiao arrives in the Alchemist Association's main hall, Jimeng quickly welcomes him back. Kneeling before the boy, he swears to follow him anywhere from now on, following all his orders. Jimeng asks his young master Yun to teach him well, only to get told that ascending to just 2 stars even after 10 days of work means that his talents are just above average. As such, the vice commander's growth will be up to his own efforts and dedication. While the rest of the guild gets offended on his behalf, Jimeng apologizes to Yun Xiao for letting him down, vowing to work 100 times harder just to follow him. Generational glaze right here. Liking the martial expert's perseverance and spirit, the reincarnated soul announces that he will be his trusted aide from today onwards. Feeling jealous, Jia Rong wonders about his standing, getting told that he is a slave. Yun Xiao remarks that he will think about making the Alchemist his aide once he is ascended into the 4th tier. Overhearing that their master Jia is a slave to the boy, the disciples and the guild are left questioning his identity. Exiting the Alchemist Association, Yun Xiao finds Bai Mo and her team of state guardians. Greeting the boy, she reveals that Qin Yue has sent her to escort him, fearing that assassins will target the boy. Playfully remarking that he must be moving up in the world to receive this treatment, Yun Xiao joins the escorts to travel through the capital. Lo and behold, arrows start raining down on them just moments later. While Commander Bai and her state guardians fend off the enemy's attack, Yun Xiao notes that the arrows are made from verdant bamboo wood, meaning that these are supplies from the royal army. He tells Jimeng to be careful, as the enemy's attack isn't at random, right as the reincarnated soul theorizes that the main culprit is here leading these men. A voice echoes throughout the battlefield, ordering the soldiers to not leave a single soul alive. Turning around, Yun Xiao grins and snarks that old ate for reappearing. Shouting like a madman, Li Yi declares that the only reason the boy survived last time was because Luo Yanshang saved him. Convinced that things will be different this time, Li Yi orders the 2 hooded martial experts backing him to take on the others, wanting to gut the pig known as Li Yun Xiao himself. With this, the hooded entities reveal their identities, being martial lords called Guofang Yuan Jia and Yu Yuan 1 from the 100 Battles country. Meanwhile, Yun Xiao lets out a small sigh at the sight of his old slave planning to rebel, taking it upon himself as the young master of the Li family to take out the trash. He brings out a pill from his storage ring. Yun Xiao hands them to Jimeng so that he can hold off the 2 martial lords, promising to help him once he kills Li Yi. Seeing this, the deviant spy laughs at the reincarnated soul's delusional claims. Does he know? At the same time, Jimeng consumes the origin-blasting pill, brimming with energy. Yuan Jia is unconcerned, as a great master cannot break through the limitations of his realm, no matter what medicine he consumes. However, the guy couldn't have been more wrong. When Jimeng's chi settles down, he starts exerting pressure equal to that of a martial lord. Left in disbelief at the sight, Yuan Jia and Yuan 1 question what kind of pill allows people to break through realms. Right then, Jimeng intimidatingly repeats the latter's words to him. As Jimeng starts walking, Guofang Yuan Jia and Yu Yuan 1 are hit with a realization that he has broken through into the peak martial lord realm. Trying to cope with their current situation, Yuan Jia declares that Jimeng's aura breaking through doesn't matter if his understanding of martial arts is still lacking, promising to show him the difference between a real martial lord and a fake one. Yuan Jia unseals his Kaishan silver trident, slamming it onto the ground. He unleashes his soul-sealing freeze wall towards Jimeng. The vice commander remembers Yun Xiao's peach blossom sword intent poem and unseals his serpent-ending sword, causing it to slither around like a snake and shatter Yuan Jiao's soul-sealing freeze wall. This makes the 100 Battles country's martial lord question how his technique and be countered by an unknown sword presence. Getting restricted and squeezed by Jimeng's serpent-ending sword, Yuan Jia unleashes extreme frost. Suddenly, he starts feeling a sense of wavering thoughts within his aura. Without letting up, Jimeng surrounds Yuan Jia with martial presence materialization, imbuing each flower petal with a heavy presence of his martial intent. Seeing his brother in trouble, Yuan 1 leaps at Jimeng. However, with a single gaze from the latter, the former gets surrounded by flower petals. Yuan 1 looks on in disbelief as his sword intent gets caught by mere flower petals. He wonders what Jimeng ate earlier. More than that, Yuan 1 questions how a pill came to possess such an extremely effective power to begin with. Drug abuse value? Barely managed to escape the serpent-ending sword, Yuan Ji thanks Yuan for helping him escape. However, it's for naught, as Jimeng chases behind the two without letting up, shattering everything that stands in his way. Looking on at the absurd sight in shock, Li Yi questions how a mere pill can allow one martial warrior to fight 2 martial lords together. Desperately desiring the medicine that has accomplished such a thing, He decides to capture Yun Xiao alive and force him to hand over the secrets of his pills. Li Yi points his blade toward the reincarnated soul, who remarks that he originally wanted to give him more time to see the martial lords fight. However, if Li Yi doesn't need it, then he can use it to repay his debt. The debt of living in Yun Xiao's house for so long as a servant, the debt for eating and using everything that belonged to the Li family, and the debt for now wanting to rebel against the same people. Yun Xiao proclaims that Li Yi will repay all these debts with his life. Enraged, the old slave unseals his Stage 3 martial weapon, Taiyan Freezing Sword, unleashing raging current at the reincarnated soul. Worried that the enemy is too strong for his young master Yun to face alone, Jia Rong shouts at him to run quickly. However, the boy pushes forward, declaring that even the strength of a Stage 3 tool depends on who's using it. Unsealing his black lash, Yun Xiao unleashes a 100-fold gravitational field at Li Yi and sends his sword flying. The reincarnated soul then dispels the gravity field, confiscating Eight's not that good sword as payment for what he has taken from the Li family all these years. Demanding his blade back, Li Yi attacks Yun Xiao with Divine Frost Fist. Announcing that he will return his sword if that's what he wants, Yun Xiao shatters the former slave's attack with his own freezing sword intent. Li Yi gets confused at how he can do such a thing, getting told that the reincarnated soul can do these types of low-level skills just by looking at them. Swinging two blades in his hands, Yun Xiao towers over Li Yi and proclaims, "Mourn, Springwater. Combine." The dude is about to get spanked.